He encouraged his massive viewer base to request the movie at local theaters, turning the grassroots interest into a massive global independent blockbuster that grossed millions on opening weekend. And according to Wikipedia, as of May 2nd, 2026, Iron Lung has grossed $41.1 million in the US and Canada and $10.1 million in other territories. That gives it a worldwide total of $51.2 million. And that's on a budget of $3 million. So talk about making bank at the box office. It made bank big time. After an $8.9 million opening day, including Thursday previews, projections were increased to $14 to $17 million. And it finally ended up opening at $17.8 million from 3,015 theaters per Variety and Deadline, though it opened to a slightly higher $18.2 million when official figures came out. So initially they thought it was going to do a lot less, and it eventually made 17.8, they thought. And then Monday morning they're like, wait a minute, it actually made 18.2 million. So just crazy. Self-financed at $3 million to bring in all that kind of money is just, it's impressive. Truly, truly impressive. I mean, 2026 has been a big year for YouTubers. Iron Lung, Obsession, Backrooms. It's just been massive, massive hits from these YouTubers, and well earned, well deserved. Quick sidebar. I didn't mention Shelby Oaks when I mentioned those other three a minute ago. That was the other YouTuber making a splash at the box office. I can't think of the guy's name on top of my head. It was a minimal splash. It was a decent hit, but not a great hit. I've heard a lot of people have mixed messages about that one, mixed feelings about that one. Like it starts real strong, but doesn't end all that strong. Lots of cliches and stuff. I haven't seen Shelby Oaks yet. I would like to eventually see it and to kind of see what it's all about. But that's 4 YouTubers this year that have been making some dents at the box office, with, of course, Obsession just blowing up. Every day I keep looking at their box office numbers, and even when it's starting to decrease now in June of 2026, it's still making money. And speaking of Iron Lung, top 10 movie for me this year, easily. I mean, I might even put top 5. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a ton. And I'm going to kind of go through my notes right quick and just kind of riff on things like I just said. So opening note here says, talking about watching it on day one and the next day going back to watch the intro. Yeah, that's what happened. First day I watched it at home. I kind of wish I'd have seen this in the theater because I think it would have played a lot better in the theater. But I watched it at home, and I wasn't vibing with it 100%, but I was kind of into it and kind of not into it. And I actually fell asleep a couple times. I think I was just really tired that day because the movie's got a very ambient sort of feel to it, and it can kind of lull you to sleep if you're not careful. But then I went back the second day to kind of rewatch the intro, which I absolutely love that intro. It's just watching that sub. I finally realized on a second visit, watching that sub drop into the water and then all that blood forming around it. I didn't catch that the first time around. That was the actual sub going into the ocean of blood. But I love that whole intro and the voiceover, and it just captivated me so much. Even both visits, I was hooked on that intro.
The stars are gone. The planets have disappeared. There were barely enough of us left to give the end a name. The quiet rapture. Supplies dwindle. Infrastructure crumbles. Too few to rebuild. Too many to feed. Humanity decays. But don't despair, my sons. I tell you now that there is more to these moons than meets the eye. The consolidation. They hide their technology, their people. They won't tell you what they found, but I will. One moon stands apart from the rest. And in the darkness of that moon, an ocean of blood.
But on the second visit, I didn't plan to rewatch it, and then I was like, I'm just going to kind of let it play. And then it kept playing and playing and playing, and I kept getting more into it and more engrossed into it. And then I want to go back into the past and just smack my previous self, my first viewing self, across the face and say, you idiot, this movie is awesome. And I don't cuss on this channel very awesome, but it was fucking awesome. I really enjoyed it. It hooked me. It grabbed me. I was like 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, 50 minutes in. I was like, I'm still engrossed. To the point that I had to go to carpool to get my kids, and I didn't want to stop it. And I came home from carpool and went immediately back to it because I just wanted to finish this movie. So good. So much better on the second visit. I don't know what I was thinking with the slow burn at the start. It's not a slow burn. It pulls you in, grabs you, keeps your attention. I was hooked the whole way through the second time. And I'm actually looking forward to seeing it a third time eventually. Next note says, talk about the gore and effects. This isn't a body parts going everywhere kind of movie, you know, Terrifier 3 kind of gore. But there's plenty of blood. You know, it's in a blood ocean. There's blood seeping into the sub. Mark gets bathed in blood at the end when he comes out of the ocean with that big creature that's kind of up there. It kind of falls back in. That's a really cool ending at the end of the movie. Like look at that monster at the end too, and it rises up out of the blood ocean as Mark's standing there dripping in blood. What else I got to say here? Body horror. At the end of that movie, Mark is just coming apart, stuff popping and pustulating and all stuff on him. His arm gets stuck to the thing, it gets pulled apart. It loses his whole arm at one point in time. There's just blood everywhere at the end. Love that. I was listening to Dead Meat talk about this again. And I'll probably link to their podcast episode because they did mentioned a lot of good stuff in there. But that little thing he was holding on his arm has a seed in there. And that the reason why you're seeing all the plant growth throughout the ship is because that seed has been introduced to this light source. The light is like Dead Meat tried to explain this too. And I sort of get it, sort of don't. But the end, when they're talking about the light at the end of the movie, somehow this monster that's in the ocean has sort of taken the universal light and hoarded it for itself. So when that light gets introduced to that seed, that's why all the growth starts happening throughout the ship. And that's the reason why you're seeing all that growth at the end. That's what Chelsea was talking about on Dead Meat yesterday. So go check out that podcast again. I'll put a link at the end. What else? I do like the entity in the ship. They kind of, at the first of the movie, when you see the entity walk down the hall, you're like, what is that? And I didn't know what that was at first. And then at one point in time, the entity's in the ship, it's in the captain's seat, turning around. And again, going back to Dead Meat, I think Chelsea said she read somewhere that that was actually maybe a future version of himself or something like that. I think she was talking about. I can't remember 100%. After he got turned, or all the radioactivity, or after he saw the light, something like that. It gets a little crazy by the end, and I'm not sure 100% what's going on by the end, but I do like it. It's a great vibe. But go listen to the Dead Meat podcast, and you'll kind of hear my ramblings kind of in more a cohesive way. What else I got? Acting. I was really hesitant. A YouTuber carrying a whole movie for 2 hours, and I was like, what? Is this really going to work? And it did. Mark is an amazing actor. I would love to see him in movies beyond just his own stuff. I would like to see other directors pull him in and bring him in as an actor. maybe not a lead at first, maybe a side character or something, just at first to kind of warm him up. But yeah, awesome. When he had to be scared, I believed it. When he had to be angry, I believed it. When he had to cry and have tears, I believed it. He was just rock solid. Mark, you nailed it. Really, really like what he did in this performance. Because in fact, I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, I was really hesitant, like I said at first, but then I started watching, like this dude's got it. He's got the chops. He's got the acting chops. And moving on to another part of the thing that Mark did, directing and editing. I mean, Mark just directed this perfectly. He kept the pace. He knew how to put the shots here. He knew how to put the camera here. He knew how to edit the scenes to keep the pace moving and going forward. I mean, kudos to Mark for the directing and editing. He really knew how to put this thing together and made it look excellent.
Can we just agree? This is important. Food, air. We need this, not just the COI. All of us. We need this.
There aren't enough of us left to be throwing lives away, but there is too much at stake not to take calculated risks. Ian doesn't understand that. You don't understand that.
Even the lighting in the thing, I don't know if he had anything to do with the lighting or not. I don't think he did. It looked great too. All the lights and the selection. When it had to be dark, it looked great. When it had to be light, it had to look great. Excellent. Excellent directing, editing, cinematography, all that jazz. I cannot say it. Kudos to all of that. Story and script, it's one location. If you can vibe with a one location movie, Mark does some things throughout the movie. He cuts away occasionally to show a few things. Like towards the start, there's a scene where he gets pulled up out of the blood ocean, and you see sort of inside wherever he is, you see inside that little area, and you kind of see the squeegee on the window with the blood coming in. So nice little cutaway there to break up the one location scene. Then there's a couple times in there where they do some flashbacks to break up the one location. But for the most part, it's Mark inside a sub, inside the blood ocean throughout the whole thing. And it works. It works very, very well. And the score was minimal, but very effective when it needed to be used. It didn't stand out to me 100%. So. All right, that's about it. Like I said, Iron Lung, probably top 5 movie for me this year. It's up there with Obsession. I don't think Backrooms is going to be in the top 5 for me this year. It'll probably get in the top 10, but I definitely think Iron Lung is top 5. It might be damn near close to number 1 for me. I just was amazed by how much I enjoyed Iron Lung on a second visit. So that's it. Take care, have a good one, and be good.